This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Not to be dramatic, but I had an epiphany. Tiles are pixels, and pixels are tiles. I fell down a pixel art / alpha pattern rabbit hole on Pinterest a while ago when I got into tapestry crochet. So the idea of making a pixelated tapestry mosaic has been rattling around my head for a few days, and I've been playing around with this alpha pattern maker. Let me show you what I've been doing. Okay, so I've made these two patterns already. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can tell what they are, right? But I want to make one more, so I decided I would show you how I did it. Okay, so first you need a bird image or whatever image you're trying to make. Just get it from the internet. Don't worry about copyright and stuff like that because we're going to be changing this so dramatically that it falls under like the artist exemption. I'm going to open it in Photoshop. I'm sure there's other programs you can use. I think first thing I'm going to do is flip it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and delete the background, but it doesn't need to be so precise. Something like that is perfectly fine. Like, it can be really, really rough. Okay, and then the other thing we're going to do is we're actually going to make this guy bigger, and you'll understand why in a little bit. We just wanna give him some like nice border around the edges. Okay, and then I'm just gonna save this as a JPEG. Bird. Okay, and then we're going to open up Stitch Fiddle. Stitch Fiddle's the one that I'm using. It's like, there's some limitations, let me just say, but I found it the easiest. I mean, I'd only spent a little bit of time looking for different options, but I don't know, it works for this. So we're going to create pixel art from picture, and then we can drag our bird in. So you can see it's already making something cool. This would be way too many tiles for us and way too many colors. So what I want to do is actually use 3 colors. So I want 2 colors for the body and a background. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And then we also need to remove how many pixels. So we're going to go to size and we're going to, I just click square. And we're gonna break it down to 20 pixels. Okay, so now it's looking very much like a blob, and we're gonna edit this a lot, so don't worry. Okay, we're gonna save chart, which means we can start editing. So you can select, and we're gonna just delete these columns now, basically. It's going to be 225 tiles per piece, equals 675 tiles total. So these tiles add up really, really fast. So now, let's change this black to something nicer. Well, now we're going to use our bird as an example, and we're gonna try and fill it out. One thing I do wanna do is I do wanna put a border around these. I just decided it would look nicer, but this also like means that our bird needs to get even smaller. Create like a little gap around it, okay? We are gonna go in and try and make this bird look reasonable now. Okay, I feel like this is the best we're gonna do. It's a little abstract, but they all are, and I think that's kind of the charm of it. Okay, now we need to save a PDF and a JPEG. So I have the colors. Yeah, document for printing. And what's cool about Stitch Fiddle is that you can change it to symbols so that you're not using up all of your printer ink. I don't even have a color printer, so I just switched them to symbols. You can even customize the symbols, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here's our thing, and it looks crazy right now. It's gonna look reasonable. We're gonna use our highlighters to fill it and make it make sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and print this, and I'll BRB. Now, you can, of course, also just do this with graph paper or something, like totally, you don't need to use these tools. But there's one really great thing about Stitch Fiddle, and that is that it counts your tiles for you. So I can write down how many tiles of each color I'm going to need. Okay, now I'm gonna roll out some clay. Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor. You know them, you love them, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that artists and entrepreneurs use to stand out online. I've personally been using Squarespace ever since I started my online business because it has incredibly easy to use features, including their drag and drop website builder and integrated SEO tools. Whether you're just starting out or managing a thriving brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website to sell anything from physical products to memberships, digital products, and even services. You can also schedule appointments, create on-brand invoices, and send newsletters. And for the artists watching, you will love their cutting-edge design tools, where you can create a bespoke website that perfectly fits your brand or business. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/pottery to the people for 10% off your very first website or domain. Now let's get back to the video. I'm going to let my clay dry out overnight so that I can cut them out when they're leather hard. I used up the entire bag of clay and I also ran out of boards. So I'm having a hard time conceptualizing how much slab I need for this project, because if the piece is going to end up being something like this should be enough, but it's always too little. I suspect I'm going to have to roll out more clay tomorrow, but we'll know that when I cut these pieces out. So I'm going to let them dry overnight until they're leather hard, and then tomorrow we can cut them out. And we can see how many tiles 5 slabs makes. Good morning. Today we're going to cut the tiles, and I hope it's gonna be enough. I genuinely have no idea. So you can see, I'm gonna try not to bend this too much because bending leads to warping, but you can see it's fairly stiff, which is exactly what we want. Hopefully not too stiff though, because I need to smooth out the texture. Yeah. There's a bit of texture left over from the wedging board, so I'm gonna go ahead and smooth that out. Okay, and I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife to cut out the tiles. And we're just doing 2 by 2 centimeter tiles, because if I did larger tiles, it would end up being huge. So that's why I'm feeling like we might be able to get all the tiles done today. We need 675 tiles, which is a lot of tiles, but the smaller you make the tiles, the less slabs you need. One thing that I did get recently is a T-square, which I'm pretty excited about. And that makes cutting them out a lot easier. Ta-da! I think I'm gonna put them in stacks of 5 or 10. Maybe 5. So we can count easier. Look at how many of these tiles we just made with just 1 slab. So I feel like we're gonna be okay. This is already nearly 150 tiles, is that right? 10 rows of 5 is 50, nearly 150. So we have definitely enough slabs. I probably rolled out too much slab, actually. That's crazy. I didn't expect that. Well, let's just keep cutting them. Okay, I actually rolled out nearly the perfect amount of slabs. This is all I have left, just this little bit here. So I made quite a few extra tiles as well. I need 675 and this is 715. So we have like, what is that, 30 extra tiles? No, more than that, math. Anyway, we have plenty of tiles. This will be good for any sort of mistakes that happen along the way, any sort of weird warping or whatever happens. But I need to do one more thing before I let these dry, which is smooth out the edges, because right now they're looking kind of rough. And this is just totally normal with tiles. It's from the cutting process. So I'm gonna go ahead and sponge around the edge of every single one of these. So, yeah. I'm done. That took me a long time, 2.5 hours. And I got through 3 podcasts. And while I was hating myself for getting myself into this process, I looked up different ways of making tiles. And I think what I'm gonna try next time is a pizza cutter, because if I'm pressing the blade down from the top, I'm thinking maybe I won't have to smooth the edges, because the wiping obviously takes a really, really long time. We shall see. If you guys have any tile making tips, let me know. I know some people slip cast them. I'm not interested in doing something like that. You could do a cookie cutter, I suppose, but that feels like a lot of wasted clay to me. Anyway, I got through. I'm going to cover them with some newspaper and compress them between some boards. Okay, I'm gonna weigh it down so it has a little bit of pressure that will help hopefully keep them flat while they dry. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna let them dry out now, and then once they're fully dry, we'll pop them into the bisque kiln. So I'll see you then. So it's been about a week. These guys are fully dry now, and I'm just gonna transfer them straight to this kiln shelf so I don't have to like lean over the kiln and spend hours putting them in that way. Every time I do this, I think I should have just placed them directly on the kiln shelf after wiping. I think this is going to be my new thing. So I'm gonna place them directly. But it's fine, it's just gonna take a little bit of time to transfer all these. I'm just trying to keep them in good stacks so that I can handle them easier in the next time I have to move them. Time to unload the kiln. It's still quite hot. Okay, so I have our color palette here, and I went through my designs here and I totaled up how many of each color we need. So I think what I'm gonna do now is put them on boards, like just divide them up evenly, you know, assuming that there will be some extras. I also got this thing. I haven't used this yet. This is not sponsored, but I got it from this company here. And we shall see how this works. It's supposed to, you know, I'm gonna fill this up with glaze, and then my dream is to very easily coat them all with glaze instead of manually dipping each one, because that's what I was doing in the past, and that was hell. That was not fun. So yeah, we'll see if this actually makes things more efficient, because I'm going to have to juggle between 6 different glazes. Some of them are paint on glazes, so I don't know if this thing can handle it. We shall see. We're gonna test it out together. Know like how much splatter this is going to make. Like, do I need to, I was thinking about putting this in like a big tote box. If there's a lot of splatter, I could do that, but I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't really know what this stuff on the side is. Looking looking up their YouTube video because there's this little nozzle here on the side that I'm not sure what that is. A Blasventilschraube, okay. What I didn't understand is that it like continues spraying even after she stops pumping. Maybe I just need to pump for a bunch. I think I just need to try. I think I just need to, you know, give it a go. I wonder if it makes sense to put this at a slight angle. I have no idea. We're just gonna give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Ooh. Oh, that is... Do you see that? What is going on here? Did I pump too much? It came with a bunch of different sizes of nozzle, so I'm not sure if I have the right size on it. It's making a mess. It came with, I think this is 1 millimeter, 0.6 millimeter, and this is 1.2 millimeter, and I chose the biggest one thinking that the bigger one would be better. I don't think this is picking up the glaze though. No. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's not evenly coated at all. Can't really tell because the glaze is so light, but it's very like splattered. Trying this again. What I've done differently now, I have a smaller nozzle and I've also lined up all the tiles here because I was just processing the tiles that I already glazed and I had to end up wiping them again. And the whole point of this is to delete steps. The other thing I'm going to do is set it up a little bit and we shall see how it goes. We shall see. I'm not sure what the magic sauce was there, but that worked pretty dang well. So I'm curious if I have to wipe the bottoms here. Also made much less mess than the last time. The thing I don't know about this technique is like, there's a lot of parts that need to be cleaned in between each glaze and like adding all that together. Like I'm trying to find the most efficient way to glaze tiles. Adding in the parts that need to be cleaned, whereas you don't have to clean anything when you're just hand dipping them. Is that faster or is it not faster? You know what I mean? One thing I am doing this time is after I wipe them, I'm gonna transfer them straight to the kiln shelf. Just gonna give this a moment. This is already dried, but around the edges it's still wet. And I'm gonna give it a moment to dry. Okay, this has been a pretty miserable experience. It's been, the dog's barking. It's almost 7 and I've been at this for 3 hours trying to get this damn thing to work. I watched the tutorials, I've played with this because theoretically by adjusting this, you should be able to stop it from making the P arc, like one stream. I've been adjusting this. It feels like it just gets clogged. And I don't know if this is user error or if this is the tool. I have glaze on my face, I have glaze on this wall, and I have glaze all over the floor. This thing has been a nightmare to use. And let me know if it's my fault. I'm gonna contact the manufacturer and ask them because This has been crazy. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed because I thought this was going to be my solution to glazing tiles, like making that more efficient. Because I love working with these tiny tiles, but they just take forever to glaze. This was the last one that I struggled through, and that's when I got glaze on my face, and I'm calling it a day. I'm gonna wipe these, load the kiln, and maybe throw this thing in the trash. I won't do that. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to use it better, but it's not been fun. All I have to say is this better have been worth it. There's also glaze all over my camera. Okay, well, it took 2 days for this kiln to cool because it's so jam-packed with basically every single kiln shelf that I have. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay, well, some of them look really bad. Some of them look really bad. Some of them look fine. Like the magma one, it's a little splotchy, but like honestly, like I wouldn't even mind. I don't mind it at all. Like that's actually okay. The yellow and the seafoam turned out really, really good. The mystery glaze and the brown look like trash. Also the green, the dark green. So like half of them look like trash and half of them look good. Maybe the good ones can like elevate the ones that look like trash. Maybe it's something that can look like it was intentional, perhaps. I'm sitting here thinking if I should redo them, but I really don't want to. I think it might work. It might work. I'm really bummed, and like the lighter colors obviously work better. The brown was the last one that I glazed, and I was so fed up with that stupid spritzer at that point that I took the risk, and it was not a good risk. The glaze is not applied thickly enough, and it's because I was struggling so much with that tool that I didn't put enough glaze on. I'm gonna go ahead and make at least one of them. That way I can kind of get a feel for how it's looking, our status, our situation with these messed up tiles. And also I need to measure how big the wood should be so I can get it cut from the hardware store. Let's start with the frog, shall we? I don't hate it. I love it for all the reasons that I always love tile mosaic, especially like with abstracted figures. For some reason, I think it's so nice. I'm really bummed out about the glaze colors. That's just that. But I think I do still want to finish the project. I think it will look nice. The bird will probably look nice with these nice, beautiful, vibrant colors. Because this is just looking very blah. The yellow, I thought it turned out good, but next to the other colors, it also just looks really washed out. I think with these projects, like I get really excited about tile mosaic, and I really start to think about all the projects that I can make. And I think what would help me in the future is number one, I need to figure out a glazing system that just like works really well and is not like incredibly onerous, like hand dipping. And then the other thing I need to do is make test tiles of all my colors, because the glaze does show up very differently on these versus on like my, normal test tiles where I'm dipping it like this, versus when I dip the tiles, I'm dipping them flat. So the glaze just turns out differently. Also, the glaze turns out differently because when I'm making tiles, the kiln is more densely packed. So some of the colors end up getting a little bit burnt out. Anyway, long way to say, I really want to continue making projects like this. I am going to figure out my glazing system. Maybe that's my next big challenge. I think that with the grout and everything, when it's all finished and hanging on the wall, I think it will look less unintentional. Maybe it will look like it was meant to look like that. We shall see. I'm going to go to the hardware store now, and I'll probably get back to this tomorrow. See you then. Good morning. So I've got my 3 plywood boards for my 3 mosaics. That means today we can finally assemble the pieces. We can glue them down and we can grout them. The reveal will have to wait until tomorrow though, because the grout needs 24 hours to dry. So the first thing I need to do is transfer a grid onto each of these so that I can line the tiles up nice and evenly. By the way, whoever in the comments recommended me a T-square, I'm forever in debt to you. I don't know, I somehow forgot T-squares existed, and they've made my tile making life a lot easier. These are not exactly 30 by 30. That is annoying. I don't have a table saw, so we're gonna have to work around that. That's annoying. They're a few millimeters off, which is annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna be just fine. We have our grids. This is just a guideline, really. I'm going to be placing them in relation to each other so that the grout lines are as even as possible, but this is going to keep me on track. I find the grids to be super helpful. So as usual, we're using PVA glue. This bottle has lasted me for years, honestly. PVA glue is really great for interior mosaic. You don't want to use it outside, but it works really well for interior. I think that it dries fast, but not too fast, so you can still wiggle things around a little bit. It's like the standard craft glue. Let's start with our little frog. I do have a secret fear that like I miscalculated the amount of tiles that I need, so we shall see. Okay, frog is done. We saw how this looked already yesterday, but I'm really excited to get into the other ones because I hope that they look good too. He's growing on me a little. I also think it's going to look cooler when there's grout because I'm gonna put a dark grout in here. So that should make the colors in the tiles pop a little bit more. Like my main issue is that they're just kind of like muted right now. So let's see. I saved the one I'm most excited about for last. This is with that nice red that actually turned out. Okay, so your eyes are not deceiving you. There is a slight color change towards the bottom here, and I did mess up, but not in the way that I thought I was going to mess up. This frog thing, I messed up with the frog because the yellow was supposed to be the background, not the belly. Supposed to be, these two colors were supposed to be switched. The yellow was supposed to be the background and this light green was supposed to be the belly, which, you know, makes more sense, I feel like. But because I used a yellow highlighter, I just messed it up in my mind. And with this piece, it was supposed to be the light green background. And then because of all this mess that I created, I ran out of yellow for the background of this one. I do think that the yellow works okay. I would have preferred the green. I feel like it's too much like in the warm color zone otherwise. I realized halfway through and I tried to make it sort of look like he's sitting on something like green. I don't know, maybe from further away it looks okay, but to me, the yellow and the green are like too similar in colors. But otherwise, I do like this one a lot better, simply because it has less patchiness, it has less washiness in the glaze. The yellow and the red, I think, work. The brown, it's fine. I do think that I would like this series a lot more if the colors were more like flat, but we're gonna go through with it. So I'm gonna mix up some grout now, and I hope that helps to like unify it and make it look a little bit more polished. So I'm gonna use this dark brownish, a little bit grayish brown. It always looks pretty good. Okay, so I let them dry out for a little bit, and basically I'm looking to see that it's a little bit, it's not like shiny anymore, the grout. And when I touch it, it's not like sticking to my finger at all. It takes like maybe half an hour or something to get to this stage. And I'm finding it very helpful, by the way, to have 3 going at once, because usually when I'm done with the one, I'm working on the next. The other thing that you saw me do is, what I like to do is stain the edges of the piece with the grout, just so the plywood gets a little darkened so it's not sticking out so much. I just think it looks a bit neater. So we're gonna wipe this back now, and I'm very excited to see how they look. It's already looking so much better. These are looking so much better now. I'm really, really relieved. Grout is truly amazing, like how much it just polishes the piece. I'm going to let these dry overnight. You can see there's a little bit of haziness still on top. I really learned that when it comes to wiping back the grout, less is more. So I'm gonna let these dry overnight now, and then tomorrow we can remove that haze with just a little bit of buffing. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when I finish them up. I'm also gonna add little hangers on them, and you can see the final result. Good morning. It is the next day. I'm excited to finish these up. First, I'm gonna polish them, and all you need for that is just like a piece of cloth. And then you just wanna buff off this like cloudy layer of grout that's sitting on top of the tiles. This is really satisfying. It's really easy. Just go over each and every tile, and it looks really good. I love how shiny the tile gets after they're buffed. Really, really nice. Now, I need to add hangers on them, and I have to be honest, I usually try and do this before I add the tiles. This has not happened to me before, but I'm always afraid that I'm going to break the tiles while I'm hammering these hooks into them. These are just like little picture hooks, nothing fancy. I'm gonna put 2 on each one, and they come with these little nails. Yeah, I'm going to be really careful hammering these into the backside because I am worried that something could go wrong. Like I could crack a tile, or, you know, that would be really depressing. So I'm gonna put down a little cushion for it, and I'm gonna start with the one I like the least. Okay, I'm just using a little piece of tape to stick it down, and then, because these nails are so tiny, I can't actually hold them with my fingers, so I'm gonna hold them with some pliers. Lastly, I'm going to add one of these little felt guys on each corner so that it's nice and cushioned against the wall. All right, friends, they are officially done, and I'm fairly happy with how they turned out. I think that the grout added so much, and you know, maybe it's kind of cool that it's not the most clear what is going on in this picture. You can see a lot better from far away what it is versus close up. It gets a little unclear, but maybe that's cool. Anyway, I'll have these guys for sale in my online shop if you're interested, but mostly I want to say thank you for watching this video. This was a really fun sort of trial and error process for me. I am obsessed with the idea of making tiles. I feel like my execution could get improved a lot, and I definitely want to do this again. I am super inspired right now. I'm definitely going to do more research on how to make this process a bit more efficient, because the fun part for me is laying the tiles, not necessarily working my way through making all of these tiles, you know what I mean? But I definitely don't want to just buy tiles, I want to make them too. All right, friends, that's it for me today. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.